The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, Dr. Minnis not backing down as he says he is the leader this moment requires. He also says he won't be pushed aside. Fallout in South Beach as aspirant Jamal Moss voices displeasure at not being picked and given the F&M nod for the constituency. We hear from him tonight. And later, are you, like many other Bahamians, on edge, dreading your summer BPL bill? You know what happens every summer. Well, we have the CEO of BPL and a representative from the Office of the Prime Minister here to tell you just how they plan on helping you save, so important, save money this summer. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, with questions swirling about the political future of former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis, speculation is mounting over what's next for him. This as he hosted a constituency event on Friday evening, pulling in hundreds of supporters. We get this story from Laurencia Smith, and then we come back and give our opinion.
Over the weekend, Kalani's Member of Parliament Dr. Hubert Minnis officially launched the Kalani Strong Movement, a community-focused campaign, he says, aimed at mobilizing support and reconnecting with residents. The event drew some political heavyweights, including former Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister and former Minister Branville McCartney. Dr. Minnis also unveiled a new initiative he intends to introduce to his community, a digital local government platform designed to let residents flag issues like potholes and infrastructural problems in real time.
Send us a GPS marking to the office. The office would obviously be strengthened, and then the office would communicate with the relevant authority to have it repaired and fixed whatever is necessary. And at the same time, we communicate with the residents who are facing the problem and keep them abreast as to the progress on.
The longtime Killarney MP says he remains committed to the constituency he's represented for nearly 2 decades, a seat once seen as a safe F&M stronghold, now considered a potential battleground.
And I have no doubt that I'll win the constituency. I have no doubt that I would win, and we will keep Killarney strong and make Killarney even stronger, and make Killarney the role model of constituencies within the Bahamas.
But while Minnis is declaring his intentions to run, the F&M has made its position clear. Party leader Michael Pintard confirmed that Dr. Minnis will not be renominated on the F&M ticket. The party unveiled 17 candidates last Thursday, a mixture of returning politicians and fresh faces, some of them running under the Minnis leadership in the last election.
I have not looked at the slate, to be honest with you. Many of them I don't know. Many of them I don't know. So I've not analyzed or tried to look at individuals, their background, what they would bring, etc. I have not analyzed that.
When asked if he was consulted on the new slate, Minnis said no. And when pressed on whether he feels sidelined by his own party, he offered this response.
History would speak for itself. History would speak for itself. I told you previously that I was not allowed to speak at any F&M events, at any association meetings, etc.
Well, that's Dr. Hubert Minnis speaking with Laurencia Smith earlier today. Dr. Minnis, of course, coming out of that event that he held on Friday evening at the Twisted Lime. I shouldn't be calling your name, should I? Come on board. Let's help with that. Let's have a good time. But it's certainly at that establishment in Western District of New Providence in his constituency. Dr. Minnis, again, very steadfast and sounding very much like a man in charge. In fact, sounding like he is going to, what?
I'm the leader this moment requires.
What he said, Leslie?
I'm the leader that this moment requires.
In fact, he unveiled.
F&M, that is.
Yes, of course, at the F&M. He unveiled a number of other initiatives. You heard him talk about a digital platform for local government, something that is not presently in New Providence, but he wants to ensure that Killarney becomes this model constituency where that is played out and properly structured. He also announced plans to introduce, in fact, I think he's done some of this already, a great deal of it, but take a ring security system throughout the constituency, public infrastructure upgrades. Leslie Miller, Garth Rosborough, good evening to both of you. Welcome to the show. Does this sound like a man who will stand down or somehow move to the side and not continue to be a thorn, or maybe not in the F&M side?
Yeah, could I do the...
Good evening, Shanique.
Yeah, good night, everyone. Good night. Could I do the minutes thing?
What minister? Garth, stop being mischievous. Stop being mischievous.
That's if you want to go ahead, by all means. But anyhow, definitely the strength is being shown here. We've said here from this particular platform, this particular space, that Dr. Minnis was now appearing to be an emperor, as it was, and making a grand entry. He has been consistent from that time till this time, and right now we see a very calm, a very collective Dr. Hubert Alexander Minnis. He knows that he is an issue to the party, not because he intended to be the issue, but that we can clearly see that the organization has an issue with him. He has already not been given the nomination, as he has said. He was not given permission to speak before. So if you hate me, you hate me. You got rid of me. The people of my constituency still loves me. I want to represent them. What is the issue? You're still complaining. You're still trying to blame somebody. So let's look at a similar situation in North Aberco. We had our very good friend, Darren Henfield, the senator. He was in his constituency. He was a cabinet minister.
Yep.
But the people are saying in Aberco, we do not want you. So he ends up in South Beach. You have a minister that is wanted by the constituency, a Darren Henfield that is not wanted. Both of them were in the cabinet. Both of them were executives of the party. So how do you choose one over the other? Very clear to us today, the issue is not sensible. The issue is just simply petty.
So hold on. The issue is petty, you say. So you're trying to say both look and smell alike and showing up alike. So why choose one over the next? Is that what you're saying?
And yeah, and you know, my whole thought process of Mr. Miller and Shanique Miller is that when you have a gorilla in a cage, leave him in the cage. Give him the nomination, keep him in the cage. But you went right ahead with your brash self, since everybody is Lil and Lil Phil, and open up the cage. All you could ever get at that zoo is bloodshed. Leave the gorilla in the cage. Now the gorilla's loose. He is showing you, I am in total control of myself. There's nothing little about me, and if you don't believe that, you bring that candidate to me. I will prove it to you that Killarney loves me. He has the strongest case so far. At this particular time, we pity the Free National Movement. Whoever they're sending, they have their work cut out for them.
You know, we have said on this show over and over and over again, God and I, that Dr. Minnis was definitely going to run. That in fact, he has more popularity in the F&M now than the leader does. And the leader is aware of this. And you want some examples. The guys in Andres, what's the name? Who was the MP?
Which one? Bolek? Who?
Bolek.
North Andros, yeah.
Okay, Carlton
Right.
Bolek. Okay, go ahead.
Who was running? Did you hear that voice note that came out over the weekend?
Well, I heard
The
it,
filth.
but you know.
That took place. I mean, I wouldn't want no Bahamian child to have heard what a supposed member of parliament could stoop to in a conversation with someone else.
Well, obviously he was arguing with someone, and
Okay.
that's and that's a lesson for all of you, eh?
Yes. Be careful, man.
On these phones, bring it down some, and don't have much to say on the phones, because you don't know who is recording you, who is it's just wild. I heard it as well, and I didn't
Okay.
listen to all of it.
Dr. Minnis has his following. He's going to retain his following, and he's getting more popular because some of the foolishness that the leaders now doing makes no sense. For example, in the newspapers this morning, he's trying to shake Dr. Minnis' hand. What the hell is Minnis going to shake his hand for?
Well, I'll tell you this, gentlemen.
For what? I
Gentlemen,
won't break
that
it
was-
off.
That was just a...
Huh?
No, you can't. And you say
If
the
you
man-
don't have to break
did-
your damn hand off,
Didn't you just say, Leslie,
break your hand and
that
beat
the
him with
man
it.
shouldn't be cursing and
No,
carrying himself?
I ain't say curse, I ain't curse, you know.
Yeah,
I'd
but
have
you
to take
can't,
your hand
so
off.
we can't break the hand off, because then that's violence, right? But let me
That
tell you
ain't
what
violence.
it is.
That's payback.
In that particular daily, the camera just happened to snap
Yep.
wonderfully at that time when Minnis was doing some hand action, not sure. I, for the
Telling him to get lost.
for the first time in the longest while, happened to have spoken with Dr. Minnis because I too wanted to know, well, hold on, why would you give the leader the hand? He said, no, they did shake hands, and whatever those gestures were as they were talking, this is when the camera snapped. And so, but I'll tell you, it's the Tribune, that's the money-making shot right there.
Yeah, it is.
But that is what
No,
took,
the
that is what took
the
place.
heart just happened to speak, but the lips could not. That's all. The handshake means absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
There's no friendship there.
The guy done
There's
killed
no
him.
association there.
He's
You
dead.
chopped me off. You kicked me out of heaven. Let me tell you about kicking people out of heaven. When you kick the devil out of heaven, let me get spiritual with y'all, since y'all will be Christian and so-called Christian nation.
Yep.
Eh?
No, but it's a former
Let's go
pastor.
to Revelation chapter 12. You kick the devil out of heaven, drawing 1/3 of the heavenly host with you. But when you come to earth, look at all you devils running around that he just recruited. You continue to recruit. So when you kick the devil
no,
out, that listen, man, you can call Minister Devil, but the
Listen
only
to the
thing that
preacher.
happen
Listen to
is
the
that
preacher.
your following is going to increase. It's going to increase. And so if it were me, leave the gorilla in the cage until such time.
Well, he's out
That's
now. You
my
can't put him
advice.
back in.
Well, he's out.
Can't put him back in.
Speaking of, let's move on. We're still on politics. A political hopeful who was not successful in his attempt to be a candidate for the constituency here in New Providence, is speaking out tonight, suggesting that the party's selection isn't sitting well with potential voters and, most importantly, party insiders in the area who feel as though their say was disregarded. Jose Etienne takes it from here, and then we come back and we talk about it.
Former Senator Jamal Moss isn't holding back days after the Free National Movement ratified Senator Darren Hinfield as its candidate for South Beach.
I felt as though I'm a better person. I felt as though I would be the better person for the job, but like I said, the party made a decision.
Moss had been eyeing that constituency for some time, hoping to be the party's pick for the next general election. But those hopes were shut down Thursday night when the FNM announced its first slate of candidates.
I felt hurt. I'm not gonna deny it. I felt hurt.
To make matters worse, reports suggest that the party's South Beach Constituency Association was blindsided by the move. Executives there were reportedly backing Moss and expected the party to follow their lead.
They were shocked by it, especially knowing that you work the area. You get to know the persons in the constituency, listening to their concerns, putting together plans and visions that you would like to do for the area.
The fallout is the latest sign of growing tension between constituency associations and FNM executives on who should represent the party on the ground. Similar rifts have been reported in Killarney, where association members are still pushing for former Prime Minister Dr. Hewitt Minnis to return as their member of parliament.
I sit on the executive, and so the party has listened to other constituencies at 7 a.m. Sometimes you go forward with this person or you go forward with that person. So it's a delicate situation.
Meanwhile, Henfield is making a political shift of his own, this time vying to represent a constituency in New Providence after previously serving as MP for North Abaco. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
There you have it. I guess one person feeling a bit put out by the selection and that he was not included, Jamal Moss. Jamal Moss, of course, as you all know, is a former senator, one of the younger members and faces of the Free National Movement. I certainly know him from his broadcasting days. We both worked at ZNS, but you know, he's doing whatever it is he's doing. But your thoughts on how he feels? I mean, obviously, someone has to be nominated, and the next person has to be disappointed.
Yeah, but you know, this is another classic example of the inept leadership in the Free National Movement. There was this young man from South Beach who was nominated by his peers in South Beach who worked with him, and there they said, this is the guy we want to represent us. And they said a half hour before it was supposed to be announced, the leader informed them that it's not going to be him, it's the guy from Abaco. I mean,
That's how you know it's half
in the
hour before.
newspapers. That's what the people said, South Beach. I didn't say it. I didn't even know them.
So you're saying it was sloppy how everything was handled?
I said it was
can't even
unfair.
come back and try and defend that.
The process was unfair to Mr. Moss.
Yes, but it was said that he worked a few constituencies, but more recently he's been working South Beach.
Yes.
And so you're saying he and his supporters and the association were caught off guard.
Yes, And it's not fair. Again, this is this dictatorial type feature that's in this man's heart. He doesn't have to talk to anybody. What he says goes. And it's unfair.
But how we know it's him, though? How we know?
Listen, the leader is the leader.
Okay, fine.
There's only one leader.
The buck stops with
and
the
he
leader.
is the leader.
You're right.
Okay.
God?
Well, I've said before that we were just anxiously waiting for the rolling out of the candidates of the Free National Movement. What we did not anticipate was rolling them out while there's such disunity still existing in the party. You as a leader should have gotten everyone together, gathered them together, make them cohesive, put on the adhesion that is necessary, let folks know that, you know what, it's not going to be personal. Here is the objective.
Yes.
You came here to sit in our classroom. Now, I've been in school before, Shanique Miller. When I sit in the classroom, I expect to get an A. I want to pass at the top of the class. Everyone sitting in that classroom expected to be the one. They were going to be in the movie The Matrix, and they were going to be the star of the show. Now you find out that you just one of the cyborgs in the movie, and you're not going to get a chance. And so how do you expect these people to feel? How is there any compassion in these people? Is there any leadership skills that they have ever learned in terms of their political experience? And then I'll make it ironic for you. All of a sudden, we have all of these Free National Movement people whose feelings, I use the word feelings, are hurt as if Dr. Minnis didn't have any feelings at all. My Lord, look at us tonight. We have feelings.
Cookie crumbles.
Well, I tell you, it is, again, you know, Jamal is one of those very, someone who has big dreams.
Guy.
Yeah, big dreams.
He's a very articulate young man.
He is. He was given an opportunity before. He served as a senator.
The CIO still out there? What the hell they call this?
Stop it. Let me,
CIO.
let me move forward.
CIO. What is their name?
COI, they're doing pretty good.
In fact, the COI, I'll tell you about them after the first break. But get this, though. Former Free National Movement Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, Hiram Lewis, responding to the party's recent release of its first slate of candidates to represent the FNM in the upcoming general election. Now, Lewis changed his allegiance and gave the Coalition of Independents, that's who they are, COI, the Coalition of Independents, a seat in Parliament back in April, if you all will remember, after he emphasized, I'm going where I'm wanted, not tolerated.
Yeah, but the people who put him there are not the people from Grand Bahama who elected him. Remember that?
Leslie,
he went against their will. Remember that?
And they
can slaughter him for that.
Leslie, people.
He can pay a price for that.
Leslie, when you went to Central Grand Bahama,
I see, he can pay a price for that.
Leslie, people have crossed the floor many a time.
Yeah.
Many a time, and they have crossed the floor to another party opposite than theirs, and they have been elected. Let me tell you this.
Miller.
Sorry?
Vaughn Miller. Came from the Free National Movement, crossed the floor, went to the Progressive
Party.
That's
why he left.
He's not the only one. There are many members of Parliament that have done it. Well, you know, a good handful of them. Meanwhile, though, Lewis...
He can win again, too.
Who's going to win?
Vaughn Miller.
Hiram Lewis made it clear why voters should break the stigma of thinking it's only a choice between two parties. Here's what he had to say.
Well, it was not my decision. It was not my decision. It was a party's council decision, and if they're happy with their decision, we have to accept that. I'm with the COI, so obviously I'm going to campaign for people to support the COI. So obviously this is the place to be. This is the party for you. This is the party where real change is going to take place. That is why I cross over, and I'm now here with a party that's going to fight for the people.
Well, there you have it, Hiram Lewis, the Coalition of Independents Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, speaking on the FNM's rollout and whatnot. Rollout on Saturday evening. When we come back, we will tell you exactly where he was when he made those remarks. This is Beyond the Headlines. Sorry?
New headquarters in Grove.
New headquarters, that's right. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this. The COI is really doing big things. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods. Taste the difference.
Win a brand new 2026 GAC MPOW every week for 5 weeks. Every 10 reward points earns you 1 digital entry. The more entries you gain, the better your chances to win. 5 weeks, 5 cars. Will you be one of our lucky winners? Catch the keys today, only at Island Luck. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so game responsibly.
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you tuned in. I'm happy that you are watching. Keep your comments coming. Also, come on board. Come on board. It's good to have you welcome new sponsorship and all the rest of it. Come on board. Reach out to our sales and marketing team, and let's have a wonderful, great experience together. Well, you saw just before we took the break, Aram Lewis, who is the Member of Parliament for the Coalition of Independents in the Central Grand Bahama constituency, spoke about the F&M's rollout of its 17. By the way, Dr. Sands, the F&M's chairman, defended those 17. He said, listen, no, they're quite proud of that. Anybody who has something to say, all they're doing is just doing this. They can stay focused and not be distracted. Moving on, though, the Coalition of Independents, COI supporters, turned out in full force on Saturday, decked out in party colors for the official opening of the COI's headquarters at the Carroll Roll building off West Bay Street. The space was blessed by Pastor Rakino Monker of Revolution Church, ushering in what leaders call a new era for the party. Party leader Lincoln Bain told supporters it's been a long time coming, but worth the wait, as he renewed his call for the support of Bahamian voters ahead of the next general election.
And 5 days, they're watching the clock. In 2 weeks and 5 days, everything you see, we did. There was no ceiling in here. There was no electrical. There was no nothing. We put the paint on the wall. There was no AC in here. We can be efficient. They choose to not be efficient because the only thing they're efficient in is taking money from the treasury. If we could take some dollar drive money and do this, give us 1 term. Only one. And you will never want the PLP and F&M again. Just one term. And you can see. Because we ain't empower ourselves, we can empower you.
Well, there you have it. Of course, that happened on Saturday evening at the official opening of the COI's Coalition of Independence headquarters. You heard Party Leader Lincoln Bain say, listen, they opened that and got that all set up with as efficiently as possible, meaning of obviously power and being able to conserve energy and the rest of it so that their bills are lower. And he is saying it can be done. Well, of course, you heard me tease at the top of the show. BPL CEO is here. But I want to bring in Leslie and Garth. Listen, that room looked like it had a lot of energy.
What you think? Why are you being so much cheapest tonight? How much people?
That is a small room. I mean, the room only can hold, what, 150 people.
That, man.
You ain't asked us that, but you talk about energy, and energy is represented by... Okay, they had a lot of energy, Shanique, a whole lot of energy. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And congratulations to them on their new building. We are anxiously awaiting to see more come from them.
Rent, you know?
And yeah, we wishing them well. We wish them well. Leslie Miller.
You know, they had a little turnout. I see they announced 5 more candidates, I think.
Why you say little? Like Michael Penton?
I really don't see that political party getting more than 2,000 behemoths to vote for them.
You like to call numbers.
Straight across the board.
You like to call...
It ain't gonna happen. They will not get more than 2,000 voters. They cast an X for them. They will not get more than 2,000 voters.
Leslie bet me, and you talked
I lost.
the same group of you lost.
Yes.
It was you, Garth?
Yeah.
Leslie talked about
they will not get more than 2,000
West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
So the better said they're going to get more than 2,000. Kai Mills got almost, 800 in the last election. Right. So you're kind of on rocky ground right now.
We'll see. That's all right.
How much?
I like rocky ground.
How much you gonna pay me?
$500.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. But listen, the COI had its official opening of its headquarters. Of its headquarters on Saturday evening. You all saw supporters there. Of course, they are almost at a full 39 candidates now that they have already launched. Of course, the Boundaries Commission will continue to do its work, and if they decide to add more to that because of population shift and growth, then of course I'm sure the COI will obviously match that. But everybody, of course, is watching everything now, every single thing. You all, how does the political landscape, and I talk about who, let me move on. I'm not even going to put that question out there. And inflation, as inflation continues to place financial pressures on businesses across the country, the beauty industry is feeling the pinch. Owners say the cost of products and services have skyrocketed, and many are just trying to stay afloat. Delano Roca has the story, and then we'll come back and give thoughts about it.
From hair products to salon equipment, the price of doing business is going up. Golden Touch Barbershop owner Garvin Bernard and Color Me Beauty owner Shanae Smith say inflation is making it hard to keep their doors open.
When I first started cutting hair, alcohol was basically about $1.50, $2 a bottle. Alcohol now costing you almost $5 for a bottle of alcohol. Clipper side went up probably about $7 or $8. The price of blades for your clippers has gone up drastically, basically doubled since COVID. I guess that would affect that, but the price never went back down. So the price of everything is basically up.
Duty on makeup products right now is a lot. These makeup products, just one concealer can cost you $45. You have to order these things, clear it, and plus pay the shipping company for bringing it. So that's basically, you're not making no profit.
And as the costs continue to climb, owners say customers are cutting back, leaving their bottom line to take a hit.
I had to increase my prices, and I didn't have pushback from, I'll say about 99% of my customers didn't have a pushback on it because they understood. But you still always have that 1% who always got, some kind of feedback as to why. And then you got to explain it and break it down to them, and then they tend to understand the reasoning why you got to go up on your prices.
I saw a little drop with clients booking actually, because my price is more than other, because the beauty industry is big everyone doing makeup.
But it's not just the cost of products. They say the industry is now overly saturated, and rental spaces can run as high as $1,600 a month.
Since I was in this vicinity cutting hair, we had 2 barbershops primarily. So now between, I'll say, the space of 100 feet, we now have about 5 barbershops. So people tend to go wherever's more convenient for them at that point in time.
So I started renting. I wasn't seeing much profit as I used to from home, but I compromised it and I just let it work because it's something I really want to do. So I can't let me paying a high rent affect me. I just have to push myself out there to get more clients to come in.
Still, amid the struggle, Wax by Esty Babe owner Ariel Smith is urging beauty bosses to be mindful of how they do their pricing.
Once you communicate with your clients and your customers, you let them know that, hey, due to so-and-so, you give them the reason on why something is going up. Persons understand. You just don't jump into, okay, today something was $50 and you jump to $100.
Delana Roker, Eyewitness News.
That's it.
There's a guy sick, the thing about
welcome back out here live. Gentlemen, you know, this is something that over a year ago I brought up and talked about the fact that, but it was just from a different angle slightly. But what are your thoughts on people, on those in the beauty industry? Obviously, those are MUAs, makeup artists, and those who work in whether it's barbershops or beauty salons, talking about, I guess, having to put their prices up because of just bringing in supplies and the cost and the increase in supplies, the cost of supplies. Your thoughts on the fact that they say inflation is now knocking on their doors?
Well, that's a tough one, Shanique Miller, because it's not an industry that I am familiar with. I've always dated natural women, so I've never really had to deal with any cost inflation. But for those people who are earning that type of revenue, I've heard people talk of filling in the nails and spending $60.
Hold on. So the women you dated never had their nails done?
We didn't have to do those things, you know. I mean,
what is this you date?
as a man, I have a right to choose.
That's that Dominican?
I have a right to choose what God gave me. But if you need someone who needs all those things, well,
listen
you
to
got
me,
to pay,
Garth.
right?
Remember days, but I bet you was looking at the women who had their nails and doing just a bit extra.
No, I'm a very focused man, Shanique. You know I have 8 jobs. What's wrong with you? I stay very focused on what I need to do each day. It's not about vanity for me. But I do empathize and sympathize with those people who are entrepreneurs, who are in this particular industry. What it's now going to take is maybe you have to refresh and go ahead and rebrand, or you may have to go ahead and benchmark with other beauticians nearby you. You're going to have to find a way to become competitive. I've always said that it's amazing how the barbers can come from another country, from the South, come into our country, and now most of our barber shops are foreigners.
But the Indians
and now
now
you see the
control
beauty industry is also...
The beauty market. The Indians control the market.
Well, in a certain area, like
Yeah, the
Bay
Indians
Street,
control
for
the market.
example, the Indians are controlling there,
Yeah.
but he's talking about the Jamaican barbers.
Oh, you're smart.
Yes, I've heard.
Oh, great. And so you as Bahamian people, we applaud you. We want to encourage you to continue to be fighting for that which you love as a passion. It's going to take some additional work, however. You need to go home, do your homework. You need to study your client base. Where do they live? Are you accessible? Where is the business located? Is it located on a stoplight where people feel frustrated coming to your business? Do you need to make your business more upscale? Or do you need to just simply cut back on the establishment that you're now leasing? You're going to have to find a way to go ahead and trim your business during this difficult time until such measures are going to be corrected. But we are praying for you, and we do encourage you to continue to be steadfast. Unfortunately, I cannot help you. I don't need nails or hair. But if I know anybody that needs some help, I'm going to encourage them to come to you, Bahamian people, to get themselves all fixed up in Jesus' name.
You know how many of my suits and my shirts, they had ruined all that makeup on, okay? And then I getting beat up because a woman hugged me and she got my makeup on my shirt. I think that fellas probably did it, the voice of five. go into the breast augmentation business.
Leslie, that's a specialty, and that's
the
and you need a
business.
medical.
I just tell you how to make money.
Listen to me. We don't need people like the Dominican Republic and the back streets of Miami
don't forget
to go
the hips.
and exactly injecting foolishness. Y'all don't do that unless you have a license.
Breast 22 and the hips 48.
Unless you have a license. Don't do it unless you have a license.
I'm going to tell you what that's where the big money is.
No, it is the big money. You're right.
Okay.
That happens every day. I
That's
tell you,
right.
them girls be walking around. I tell you,
I'm telling you.
built and manufactured.
Yeah.
Is how they be
So
walking
fellas,
around.
get ready to pay to play.
Listen to me.
Ain't no freebie out there.
I thank you both very much. Always. You all should know, except God. God say no nails. God say no nails, no hair.
Don't need it to see.
Oh, so he liked the girls.
No. You need to talk about this on the air.
So this is what he liked.
He could leave that alone.
If you speak Spanish, you're good.
Beyond the headlines,
It's back right after this. As I said.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
I was an electrician for 18 years, and one day I just lost my sight and found that I was in a totally new world. I just found this strength that came from nowhere, and here I am today. Even though I am faced with disabilities, the fire in me, it never went out as related to me being an entrepreneur. But the barrier is just people being understanding and willing to take a chance on somebody like myself. My dream is to see where the government can really pass laws, legislation to assist people like myself. And whether you believe it or not, we do have something to offer this country. We have to make people understand that we are here. And not in many cases we're looking for handout. We want to make a contribution. You gotta live. And part of living is that you gotta take charge of your life. And through programs like this with the SBDC, I know for a fact that my business can now come to life.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience, with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
If you enjoy watching Beyond the Headlines, take advantage of our exclusive offers with 4 15-minute interview segments at $1,200 and 20 30-second TV ads at $2,000. Contact 557-0258 or 557-0259 for more information. Go beyond with Beyond the Headlines.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Again, of course, it's awesome having you tuned in and joining us here this evening. This is certainly a part of the show where you want to pay attention. You want to pull up a chair and you want to find out a number of things about BPL this summer. You know that they're in the middle of an energy reform. That's been said now for several months. But what BPL is also doing is introducing a system where your bill, get this, will be lower this summer. This is what they are promising. We're going to have to hold them to it because you all know what takes place every summer. Everyone is on pins and needles, on edge for running their air conditioning systems because why? The bills are super just through the roof. And so we're going to find out tonight exactly what's planned, what's on the table to help make that happen for you and a whole lot more. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, the CEO of BPL, Tony Seymour, and Latrey Ramming, Communications Director in the Office of the Prime Minister. Good evening to both of you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Thanks for having me.
Good evening, Shanique. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's good to have you here. And I tell you, many people, you would be surprised to know even, but I'm sure you probably won't. I'm speaking now to you, Ms. Seymour, of so many people who are, especially in these summer months, they are nervous about their electricity bills. Let's just talk about why are bills higher right now after, especially the minister, if you would remember and paid attention during the budget debate where she bragged about, for the first several months of this year, residential customers in particular experience savings.
Yes, so with the equity rate adjustment that the government rolled out in July of 2024, it gives residential customers the first 0 to 200 kilowatt hours free of charge, which means if you keep your consumption below the 200 kilowatt hour mark, you're really only paying for the cost of fuel. However, as it gets hotter, you consume more electricity. So I know a lot of our customers say, well, I haven't done anything different in my home, I haven't changed anything. But the reality is the outside air temperature is hotter. Your ACs have to work a lot harder to cool the same space that it may have in the cooler months. Your kids are home from school. Your refrigerators are working harder. So there are some things that customers can do to reduce their consumption. One of the things that I recommend is...
But 1 second, the reason it's higher now, even before you start giving these sort of cost-saving measures, is the fact that everything is working harder. There's more demand on everything, every appliance. You mentioned the refrigerator. I know, for example, Leslie and we've discussed with Garth, who for some miraculous reason pays minimum on his electricity bill each month. And so he has quite an impressive electricity bill each month. But he talks about the fact that he times when he opens his refrigerator. It's not in and out, all throughout the day. That will help?
It helps. Anything that you have plugged into an outlet is consuming electricity. If the TV is plugged in, even if it's on, it's drawing current. Your water heater is a big drawer of electricity. What I recommend is putting your water heater on a timer, setting your ACs to 5 degrees below outside air temperature, and then using fans to continue to cool your home as much as possible. In and out, even turn down the setting on your refrigerator as low as you can tolerate it, because that also draws electricity. And additionally, because we're creeping into the summer months now, typically in the winter months, we can run most of New Providence with the Clifton Pier Power Station, which runs on the cheaper fuel, which is heavy fuel oil. So the cost of fuel is lower during the winter months because we're not burning as much fuel. So now that the load is creeping up because it's hotter, because there's a lot more demand on the system, we now have to run our diesel engines at the Blue Hills Power Station. Diesel costs more than the heavy fuel oil. And because the fuel surcharge is a direct pass-through to customers, whatever we spend on fuel for the month is passed through per kilowatt hour to all of our customers. And the fuel surcharge on the June bills went up by 2 cents over the previous month. And that's simply because we have to run more units to be able to meet the load demand as it increases. And as we move into this, May is not the hottest month. Typically, we see our peak loads in September, which tends to be the hottest month for us. So we know that we're going to continue to burn more and more fuel.
Then how do you now jump in and say, and Trey, I want you to jump in here as well, because this is an initiative through BPL and OPM about saving people money, customers. That's so important during these months in particular when the bills are just through the roof, as I said.
I think simply put, Shanique, the government of Bahamas last week, I think it's still with IRCA for a decision to be made, introduce a summer energy rebate program. And that basically allowed BPL to hold the line, and that's going to provide significant savings for Bahamians over the summer period. I think that the decision was made quickly. I think the CEO of BPL could know that the Prime Minister and her spoke extensively last week, and he made the decision to ensure that the government is keeping its overall commitment of reducing the economic pressure on Bahamians. And this come on the heel of the equity rate reduction as well, where there's significant savings as well. So the government's continue to do its part in alleviating the economic pressures Bahamian families experience. Obviously, this is no cheap undertaking by the government of the Bahamas, but it is a worthwhile investment.
And so Bahamians, homeowners, and I many times I feature different people on the show, people who income is meager to otherwise, but they all have the same complaint. So they'll be able to touch, feel, and experience these savings.
And definitely, I think it's important to note that this saving mechanism, it is the hope of the government, and I would go as far as BPL, with the introduction of a much more diversified energy system with LNG as well as renewables, that we will the government of Bahamas and extension would reduce less on the source of energy it is currently using now. I think LNG is expected to come on stream at the end of the year. We also anticipate that there will be the solar, the microgrids coming on stream. That's going to give BPL a much more diversified energy source. So I think it is the intent of the government to quickly move towards a different energy future to mitigate the need for the government having to step in and to really provide this level of relief. I think the Prime Minister, I know there's been a lot of opposition to this policy, but I think the Prime Minister makes an apology in doing what's necessary to reduce the economic pressure for Bahamians.
Well, I tell you, Bahamians are happy to hear it. The power bill is one of the most expensive recurring expense that homeowners have each month, and it's quite burdensome oftentimes. Let's give a quick, listen to me, you need a few master's degrees to even think about understanding and breaking down the bill. How can people better understand their bill?
So the bill is based in tiers. So the first tier, as I mentioned previously, is the 0 to 200 kilowatt hour tier. If your consumption falls into that bracket, you pay 0 for your base rate. You just pay the cost of fuel, which is probably what Garth has achieved, and he may need to share some of his energy saving tips since he seems to have mastered that. From 201 to 800 kilowatt hours, you pay a rate of 11.95 cents on the base rate, and over 800 kilowatt hours, you pay 14.95 cents as your base rate. Now, prior to the equity rate adjustment in July of 2024, that 0 to 200 kilowatt hour bracket was at 10.95 cents per kilowatt hour. And in terms of the fuel charge, it's also tiered. So below 800 kilowatt hours, you pay 2.5% below the average fuel cost, and above 800 kilowatt hours, 2.5 cents below the average fuel cost, and above 800 kilowatt hours, you pay 1.5 cents above the average fuel cost. So what the tiered approach does is it encourages you to use less so that you can pay less.
Right.
Now, what the government has done with the rebate throughout the end of September is set the fuel charge at a standard rate, which means that typically during the summer months, the fuel surcharge can range between 20 to, I would say, 28 cents, depending on how much fuel we use for that particular period. But now that it's being set at 17.4 cents for the lower tier and 21.4 cents for the higher tier, which is above the 800 kilowatt hours, Bahamians have an opportunity to plan better because you know what your average usage is. And one of the things that you'd see on your bill
is your historical data. So you could compare month to month as to how your usage is increasing. And once you're able to get a handle on that, with the fuel charge being set, there should be less fluctuations on the fuel charge. However, your consumption still has to be managed effectively.
Right, and you already kind of gave a number of ways in which we all can do that.
Right.
And so you've done that. What are the long-term plans for investments? And obviously, again, you're in the middle of an energy reform, so that's happening, and it's happening nationwide, and so we know some islands desperately need it. But in terms of, listen, first of all, no load shedding, this summer?
No.
She'll be back. We'll talk some more. But yeah, long-term plans and investments.
So as Latre mentioned, the energy reform that the government has rolled out, it includes utility-scale solar plants, I think 3 locations for New Providence, microgrids that include solar battery and generation on all of the family islands. So what that will do, and then of course the transition to LNG, so what that will do is it will stabilize rates in the next 18 to 24 months once these projects begin to come on stream.
Right.
So with solar, you're obviously using less fuel, which means that your fuel charge will be reduced.
Yes.
It's cleaner, it's greener, it's more efficient. And so those are some of the things in the short to medium term that will be coming on stream to improve our efficiency, our reliability, and our cost of electricity.
I tell you, households all around this nation will thank you dearly for that, because everybody wants a relief from their electricity bills in particular. But Latre, I am happy I have you here. I will take the next few minutes. I have to ask you about this. Prime Minister Davis mentioned that, listen, in the public service, if you are the holdup, you see what she just talked about? Major projects like that happening, and any civil servant that is seen to be sort of hanging up and dragging their feet and standing in the way of progress will be asked to leave. Well, no sooner, a couple days later, it was announced that a senior officer of the Ministry of Works was fired. Can you explain what happened? And first of all, can you confirm it?
I think the Prime Minister in his comments last week at a PLP political event indicated that a senior government official was asked to produce a key government infrastructure initiative inconsistent with the government's timeline. And the Prime Minister made it very clear that if the deadline was not met, he expected the resignation. The Prime Minister also confirmed last week at that political gathering that resignation is on his desk. As you are aware, the government
so that individual tendered their resignation?
I can confirm that resignation has happened. The Prime Minister has made it very clear that he has a number of infrastructure projects. If you are aware of the Family Islands, persons like airports and docks and runways, when there are significant delays, that costs taxpayers a lot of money, and it costs the government to miss his key priorities and objectives.
Mm-hmm.
The Prime Minister have made a number of promises to the Bahamian people as a part of his blueprint for change, and he intends on delivering those promises. He also made it very clear in his remarks last week that he will not hesitate to remove anyone who, or to hold them accountable, because there's a mechanism in the public service that will present themselves as an obstacle to the government's policies. So I can confirm that the conversation surrounding a resignation of a senior government official is absolutely true.
Well, I'll tell you that's good to hear, because as we hold the Davis administration accountable, it's good to know that you all are holding the people responsible for carrying out public works and public infrastructural projects accountable as well, because we can't waste this money.
And the thing about it, the PM has a reputation of being a very quiet-spoken guy. He presents himself as a very fair person to give people a very fair opportunity. I think 4 years in, I think the Prime Minister is very certain that he wants to deliver on his mandate. And I think that there are patterns historically of some bureaucracy and challenges, whether intentional or unintentional. But missing deadlines is something the Prime Minister has indicated that he will not tolerate.
Well, I'll tell you, as we talk about BPL bills and the summer months, and we know how they look and the rest of it, and then, of course, as this administration talks about a number of things, a livable wage, etc. Well, the Free National Movement's youth arm, just over the weekend, I don't know if you were able to see this, but a news release was sent out stating that, listen, this administration, this Davis administration, among other things, is holding the Bahamian people's wages stagnant. Can you respond to that, Latre? And is this so? What do you do? What's being done to address wages?
I think the record of the government is very clear. I think one of the things that you've seen thus far is the first thing we've done coming to office was reducing the VAT. The government has increased the minimum wage. We've increased salaries for a number of government senior officials. We've reduced the backlog of public service significantly. The Prime Minister or the Minister of Public Service had indicated next month, following a wide-scale salary review, a number of government officers.
But we heard an announcement recently, just
salaries increases
last week, about public service increases.
Yeah, and that's correct. And then we talk about reducing VAT on a number of items. But I think I have been given a very cautious expectation, not to delve into politics, but to understand that this administration has a very clear record of being on the right side of Bahamian people. You see, this is the first administration to implement a $10 million catastrophic plan to give Bahamian families to alleviate the cost of healthcare. This government has provided funding for organ transplant, and you see about 2 weeks ago that was the first kidney transplant in this country. So I think we have a record of being on the right side of Bahamian families. And as you can see with the energy reforms and the government's recent commitment and announcement with the summer rebate program, that the government will do its part to ensure that we protect Bahamian families during this cost of living crisis.
Well, one thing I don't think the Prime Minister expected was something that perhaps was said in jest, and that is asking the Leader of the Opposition, what does he do, and that he's a poet, something along those lines, that it turned into an all-out attack or assault on the orange economy. How does the Prime Minister feel about the orange economy, about creatives? I mean, does he have a disdain? Does he feel as though those people are just whiling away the time somewhere, hugging a tree?
I think the Leader of the Opposition made a political effort to mischaracterize the Prime Minister's comments. But the Prime Minister asked a simple question: what is the professional track record of Michael Pintard? The Prime Minister also said that it is clear that he is very sensitive about this issue. The Prime Minister has said that his record is clear, that he has done more for the creative industry in this country. For the first time, the Dundas has received funding, over $100,000 to repair the Dundas site, and they will have a consistent line item. The government is investing more than $1 million in a new school of creatives. So I think we've reduced the duties for artisans to bring in their products into the country. So the Prime Minister, and I would go as far as saying, one of the Prime Minister's senior policy advisors, Ian Poitier, who's one of this country's best creatives. And so, very clear, this is a simple question the Prime Minister is asking Michael Pintard, and with every voter will ask him, what is his track record?
So there's no slight of people who perhaps show up differently in the corporate space?
Absolutely not. I think the Prime Minister is a friend of the creative industry, and his policies reflect that.
Well, Latre, I thank you very much. Of course, I wanted to ask you about, because the streets have been talking. The streets have been talking and saying that you have political interest. Do you, Latre, or do you aspire to maybe even, the chairmanship position in your political organization? I don't know if you want to come back and answer that. I had to ask it. I had to drop it there.
I had a rumor, so I'm sure if there's something, the Prime Minister will be the first person I tell.
Well, okay, but you know what? You got to come back and answer that question fully. I didn't quite get that. But also, Tony Seymour, I want to have you back as well for as many times as you want, especially in this shoulder period of the summer months, so that you can continue speaking to the Bahamian people, giving them good sound advice, and also just keeping us abreast of BPL's forward movement into total energy reform. I thank you also, Latre Ramming, Office of the Prime Minister, for being here as well. And at the top of tonight's show, Leslie Miller and Garth Rosborough, thank you both very much as well. And then, of course, to all of you for tuning in this evening. I really enjoyed having you along and look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. We talk immigration tomorrow. You all beat me up a couple of weeks ago when I had, immigration tomorrow evening. Until then, for the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.